Right, okay, so I'd just like to say hi Donald, my name's Lisa and this is the Cry Freedom Show at criticalmassradio.co.uk, broadcasting from the UK, and it's great to get the chance to speak to you, Donald. Welcome to Critical Mass Radio, and how are you today?
Thanks, I'm glad to be here. Pretty good today, I guess. Just I've been worse, you know.
Alright, I'd just like to say, I first became aware of you some time ago, probably about a year or so ago, and I got to see some of your interviews that were on YouTube, and I did listen to a number of them, and it's great to have you here, great to have the chance to talk to you directly. So thanks for agreeing to do this, and I think you said this was your first UK interview.
Yeah.
I've got to just tell people it's pretty in-your-face scary stuff, this, which no doubt a lot of people out there are going to find incredibly hard to take in. And I'm not making any judgments either way. I'm just giving you the opportunity to tell your side of it all based on your experiences, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you've got a lot of stuff to tell us along the sides of exposing the so-called Illuminati for what they're doing. So perhaps, Donald, you could just start off by giving us a little bit of background information on yourself and how you got into all of this, and when you first became aware of what was happening to you, and you got involved with this. And I know some of this is directly involved with your mother and how she was a sex slave with the Illuminati, so if you want to start on those lines, that would be fantastic.
Okay, well, let's see. It started when I was 5 years old, only I was memory repressed back then. Everybody, all kids that are brought there to the cloning station are memory suppressed. I didn't know I was a clone at the time. I thought I was blasted into another dimension, something.
Sure.
Well, originally I was brought there to be what they call a diddle kid. They call it a diddle kid. And my mother knew all about it. My mother was there. She was there when she was younger as one of these people. She basically sold me out for free. But only it wasn't going so good, I'd just scream and cry. And they said, well, what else can you do? Can you do anything in her dancing? So I sang out this song, and a famous person used it, and then more famous people started coming to this specific cloning station I was at, and just got worse and worse, and just kept on making songs to keep the greasy old people off me, and then it just went out of control, and then they started thinking that I was some kind of freak, like some kind of link to God or something, because I come up with these songs out of thin air. Like, the way that they do these cloning things, it's a different kind of cloning. There's the one where it comes up from a baby, it's replication cloning, but this is duplication cloning. They grow a fully formed duplicate of you, and they grow them like 5 at a time, because sometimes they come out grown twisted. They have malformed hand or something. So they scrap them, throw them in the chipper, and go with the other 4 for backup bodies. But the way that they do it, they can only put you into one of these kind of clones. It's called a Mark II REM driven clone. They can only put you into one of these clones when you're fully into REM sleep, which happens like after about an hour and a half after you fall asleep. You go into REM sleep. They just have a machine next to your clone that's on a rack, and it's laying there like a dead body, breathing real shallow and stuff, and it's got a feeding tube down the throat, and when a light comes on a machine next to your clone, somebody presses a button on a remote, it says this light says that you're in REM sleep, full of REM sleep, and they can activate you then. If they activate you before that, you'll be all disoriented and you go psycho and stuff. But yeah, so when you're in REM sleep, they can just bring you there. I tried to do the alarm clock thing, but when you wake up, and you go back to sleep again, you just go right back into REM real fast. That's how it works. It's rapid eye movement, stage of sleep. That's how they do it. They call it a consciousness transfer. They transfer your consciousness into a clone, and they basically just give up their ability to have dreams and nightmares, and they just go there and walk around, talk, doing stupid stuff. Like, they started doing it around 1944 or 45. And it was all politicians, but then they got bored of that. Like, they were thinking they would keep the whole world in line and everything. And under the threat of clone torture, because they can kill you remotely from the cloning center, they'll give you an aneurysm. If they apply a constant state of pain to your clone, you'll die in real life. Either that night or the next day, you'll have a brain bleed, aneurysm, stroke thing. Yeah, so...
Okay, Donald, sorry, just to go back, can you just go back a little bit? The way you first got into this is because your mother was involved in it and she was actually a sex slave, is that right?
Oh yeah. It's been going on for so long that they say that she was there when she was a kid. Like I'm not sure if she was there then, but she's been there for a long time. Her brothers and sisters, they're all scared to talk, and they've seen other people get killed before for even considering talking, right?
Sure.
Like I thought that I would have been dead last year by now, but
Sure.
turns out they actually want me to talk about them.
Okay.
They wanted, well, they made me think that they didn't want me to talk about them, but they actually do. They want cloning and the lizards and the hosts shut down. The only thing is they didn't want me to tell about these head chips that they got, and this other thing about gold that is absolutely ludicrous sounding, but I gotta say it anyway, because, you know, it's just different technologies that they have that you wouldn't think that they would have yet.
Sure.
They
Okay.
have them.
Donald, sorry, you said that basically you've been memory repressed since you were 5, and you said that when you got to about the age of 30, they actually reversed the memory repression, yeah? And then you went through this process which is called the awakening. Do you want to tell us what that is exactly?
Sure. Well, they test you when you're there. They say, if we let you in on this, are you going to tell on us? And they give you a truth serum, sodium pentothal. They can scan your head to see if you, kind of like a lie detector type of thing, scan your head, see if you're deceptive or whatever. The way that I got to be unrepressed was, like, I had to let them know that I was their ally, friend, or they were just going to leave me memory repressed about it, and I'd never be able to seek help. I was just going to go to the police. Little did I know the police are involved.
Exactly, yeah,
And,
exactly. I was just going to say, there's these 2 types of cloning. You said there's this cloning that there's when you're from a baby, basically, but there's also this duplication cloning, which is done in a sort of a test tube type glass thing. And they have, you said that there's different marks of cloning from 1 to 4. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit for us?
Sure. Well, I guess the Russians, this was actually on the internet. I was overjoyed when I first started mailing around because I'd never gone on conspiracy pages and stuff or looked up stuff. And I go on to the internet to tell people about it, and they're already talking about a little bit of it. So I was like, yes, this isn't going to be as hard as I thought. So anyway, Mark 1 clone they call it, I don't know why, they call it an organic robotoid. Even though there's no robotic parts in it, it's all organic. They call it a robotic or organic robotoid, but they don't use them anymore because they're so primitive.
Okay.
They got more side effects. You're more confused when you're a Mark 1, and they're REM driven as well. They're primitive though. They come up to like messed up looking sometimes, so they don't use them anymore. They just use the Mark 2s. Mark 3 is a run around all the time clone, like no REM needed. They can, well, there's 2 different ways. They can have it run around as a set consciousness, or they can do a duality thing where, like, it's weird. It's you have to, in real life, you'd have to do absolutely nothing, like, and totally concentrate on walking and talking around as this clone. You get like a weird, like a double vision type of thing. You gotta close your eyes and concentrate. They don't go so good. Like, and Mark 4 is supposed to be like top of the line. I don't even know that much about them. Hillary Clinton got caught on camera in her Mark 4 in 2 different places in the country, on purpose. On purpose. She actually got in trouble at the cloning station because they were like, you were seen on camera on purpose and you're double. And she was like, no, it was an accident, but she just wanted it discovered. They all want it discovered so that they can get away.
So the next place to go into with all of this, Donald, I think, is then this cloning station thing, because this is a big thing in everything that you're talking about, the cloning stations, and everything that you're saying is based on the way that the elites and the people that are controlling this world are using what you're saying are these cloning stations to their own ends. And what in effect is happening here is that people, celebrities, well-known people, good-looking children, etc., are being cloned by the powers that be in these cloning stations for the use of the elite to go there for sort of sexual reasons, all sorts of horrible really awful, evil reasons. They go to these cloning stations to do this and take part in these exercises, parties, whatever you want to call them, yeah?
Yep, and torture people. They run them through these things called MK Ultra scenarios. They can put a chip in the clone's head, and they can implant sound, like visualizations, better than computer graphics and everything.
Right.
Your own brain will extrapolate the missing pieces of these scenarios and stuff. They make people think that they're secret agents and they're on a mission, all kinds of stuff. They run people around, like they make people think that they've been abducted by aliens. They have a set with a fake saucer and everything. It's got a ramp leading up to it. It's small, and on the inside it's all decked out, and they clone people into the place, make them open up their eyes on the table, and they're surrounded by like these alien guys with fake masks on that are all going to like take turns on this person, and they freak out, and then they wake up the next morning, they think they've been abducted, and they have archives of abduction porn. I don't know, they don't get bored of it. They do it to just random people. All you gotta be is good looking, or, you know, they don't discriminate.
Okay, I think at this point then, Donald, it might be good for you to actually say, if you can, how you've been actually let in to see all this, what reason that you've actually, just so people understand, how you've been aware of all of this that is going on, what your kind of insight and why you've been there, sort of thing, yeah?
Yep, and it explains why I wasn't killed yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else gets wiped.
Sure.
Well, when I was 5, I'll just say straight out, Queen Elizabeth was there.
Okay.
She goes there. She owns the specific cloning station that I'm at. It's an above ground one. Most of them are all in the deep underground bases.
And this is where, Donald, the one that you're talking about. This is where.
The one I'm talking about is in Western Canada somewhere. It's within 5 hours drive of the Robert Picton farm.
Sure.
The pig farm where all the prostitutes were killed. Okay. They recorded those murders, by the way. They called them snuff films, and they watched them at the cloning center, all these prostitutes getting killed. There's all kinds of that with the Picton thing. But anyway...
We'll go into that in a minute, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm there at 5. They're messing with me. I start singing songs. And they said, we'll just use them for songs. And then it got into other ideas for stuff. And then everybody wanted to see this amazing song kid. Come and see the amazing song kid. And Elizabeth was treating me like I was her pet dog. And my mother was all for it. And she got more attention there.
Just interrupt for a second, Donald, excuse me, but you said this is done by families a lot. It is a family thing. Families get family members involved in this, yeah?
Yeah, but you don't have to be born into it. Okay. You just have to be semi-attractive or have some kind of a skill that they want to use or steal from you. So anyway, after I made about 50 songs there, people started saying that I might be some kind of religious significance. And then they're talking to me about, I was just a little kid, and they're talking to me about these prophecies, Nostradamus prophecies and everything, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, and they said, they start going into religious stuff, saying, oh, maybe he's the lamb, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I never had any kind of, well, later on in life I'd tell them I never had any kind of visions or heard anything, and I really don't think that I am. And they wanted me to be a part of this Project Camelot thing. Well, there was a bunch of kids there, candidates for it. It was to be a figurehead, like a religious figurehead during an atomic catastrophe in the future. They were going to have someone to attempt to control the population, like by talking them through a big catastrophe. Then, they were planning on leading people into underground bases and messing them up, depopulating and stuff, and there is a lot to say. Over the past 32 years, they told me so much stuff. Like, the reason that I know all this stuff, after I said all the songs and stuff, everybody thought I was Mr. Cool Kid. They all wanted to meet me. How do you think up these songs? What's your favorite food? This and that. What's your favorite color? Anything. And then the politicians, who used to get all the attention and everything, they were like put on the back burner. So then they came out to, interact with me too. So then, at the calming center,